Right now your mind is loud. You might not even notice it anymore because the noise has been there so long that it feels normal. But it is there. A constant stream of thoughts, worries, plans, regrets, fears, and imaginary conversations running through your head every second of every day. You wake up and the noise starts. You go through your day and the noise continues. You lie down at night and the noise gets louder. You have forgotten what silence sounds like. Not external silence, internal silence. The kind of silence where your mind is still and clear and calm. The kind of silence where you are not being pulled in 100 directions by 100 thoughts. The kind of silence where you simply exist without anxiety, without tension, without the constant feeling that something is wrong. That silence is not gone. It is buried. Buried under years of overstimulation, overthinking, and emotional chaos. This audiobook is going to help you dig it out and build a fortress around it so that nothing can bury it again. Introduction: The War on Your Peace. There is a war being waged against your peace of mind. It is not a war with guns and bombs. It is a war with notifications and headlines and deadlines and algorithms. It is a war being fought on the battlefield of your attention, and right now you are losing. Every morning you wake up, and before your feet hit the floor the attack begins. Your phone lights up with notifications, messages demanding your attention, emails requiring your response, news headlines designed to trigger fear or outrage, social media feeds curated to make you feel inadequate or envious or angry. You have not been awake for 5 minutes, and already your mind is scattered. Already your nervous system is activated. Already the peace that sleep briefly provided has been shattered. Then the day begins and the attacks intensify. Deadlines, responsibilities, conflicts, decisions, problems, people wanting things from you, the world pulling you in 1,000 directions simultaneously, your mind racing to keep up, your body tensing under the weight of it all. By the evening you are exhausted, not physically exhausted, although that too, mentally exhausted, spiritually exhausted, the kind of exhaustion that a good night's sleep cannot fix because the exhaustion is not in your muscles, it is in your mind, it is in your nervous system, it is in your soul. And then you lie in bed and the noise does not stop. Your mind replays the day, it rehearses tomorrow, it cycles through worries about the future and regrets about the past. It generates imaginary conversations and hypothetical scenarios. It loops and spirals and churns. And sleep, when it finally comes, is shallow and restless and insufficient. This is the modern human experience. This is what most people live with every single day of their lives. A mind that never stops, a nervous system that never fully relaxes, a sense of peace that is always just out of reach. And here is the tragedy. It does not have to be this way. Inside your mind right now, beneath all the noise, beneath all the chaos, beneath all the racing thoughts and the chronic tension, there is a place of absolute stillness, a place that is untouched by the chaos of the external world, a place that has always been there waiting for you to find it. This place is what I call the silent fortress. It is not a physical location. It is a state of mind, a state of being, a way of existing in the world where the noise is still there, but it cannot reach you, where the chaos is still happening, but it cannot shake you, where the storms of life rage all around you, but inside you there is only calm. This audiobook is about finding that place, building it, strengthening it, making it so solid and so permanent that nothing in this world can destroy it. This is not about running away from life. This is not about sitting on a mountain in total isolation and pretending the world does not exist. This is about developing an internal state of peace that you carry with you everywhere, into the boardroom, into the argument, into the crisis, into the chaos, a peace that is not dependent on circumstances, a peace that you own. Let us build it. Chapter 1: The Noise Machine. Before you can build inner peace, you need to understand what is destroying it. You need to see the noise machine for what it is, so you can begin to dismantle it. The noise machine is not just the external world, although the external world certainly contributes. The real noise machine is inside your own head. It is the constant stream of involuntary thoughts that your mind generates from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep. Research suggests that the average person has tens of thousands of thoughts per day, and the vast majority of those thoughts are repetitive. They are the same worries, the same fears, the same regrets, the same mental loops playing on repeat day after day after day. Your mind is stuck on a hamster wheel and it does not know how to get off. Even more disturbing is that the majority of these repetitive thoughts are negative. Your brain has a negativity bias that was useful for survival tens of thousands of years ago when constant vigilance kept you alive. But in the modern world, where you are not being chased by predators, this negativity bias has become a source of chronic stress, anxiety, and mental suffering. Your mind is essentially generating a constant stream of worst-case scenarios. What if this goes wrong? What if that person does not like me? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if something bad happens? These thoughts fire automatically without your permission, and each one activates your stress response even though the threat is not real, it is imagined. This means that your body is responding to imaginary threats all day long. Your heart rate elevates, your muscles tense, your cortisol levels rise, your digestion slows, your immune system weakens, all because your mind is generating a continuous stream of imaginary danger. This is the noise machine, and it is running right now inside your head even as you listen to these words. Part of your mind is listening to this audiobook. Another part is thinking about something else entirely, something you need to do later, something someone said to you, something you are worried about. The noise machine never stops, it just changes channels. The first step toward inner peace is not to stop the noise machine. That is impossible. You cannot stop thinking any more than you can stop breathing. The first step is to change your relationship with the noise machine, to stop identifying with every thought it produces, to stop believing that every thought is important or true or worthy of your attention. Most people are fused with their thoughts. They do not experience thoughts as events happening in their mind. They experience thoughts as reality. When a thought says, "You are not good enough," they feel not good enough. When a thought says something terrible is going to happen, they feel terrified. When a thought says you should be ashamed, they feel shame. There is no separation between the thought and their experience of themselves. This fusion is the root cause of most mental suffering, not the thoughts themselves. The fusion with the thoughts, the inability to step back and observe a thought without being consumed by it. Inner peace begins the moment you create that separation, the moment you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes your thoughts, and that awareness is always calm, always still, always at peace, no matter what thoughts are passing through. Chapter 2: The Observer Within. There is a part of you that has been watching your entire life. It watched your childhood. It watched your failures and your successes. It watched your heartbreaks and your joys. It watched every thought you ever had, every emotion you ever felt, every experience you ever lived through. This part of you is the observer, and it is the key to everything. The observer is not your thoughts. Your thoughts change constantly. One moment you are thinking about work. The next moment you are thinking about food. The next moment you are worrying about the future. Thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. They are temporary, they are transient, they are not you. The observer is not your emotions. Your emotions change constantly too. One moment you feel happy. The next moment you feel anxious. The next moment you feel irritated. Emotions rise and fall like waves in the ocean. They are temporary, they are transient, they are not you. The observer is the awareness behind all of it, the still silent presence that watches everything without being disturbed by any of it. The observer does not judge thoughts as good or bad. It simply notices them. The observer does not resist emotions or cling to them. It simply feels them and lets them pass. This observer has always been with you. When you were 5 years old and felt joy, the observer was watching. When you were 15 and felt heartbreak, the observer was watching. When you were filled with anxiety last week, the observer was watching. It has been the one constant in your entire life. Everything else has changed. Your body has changed. Your beliefs have changed. Your circumstances have changed. But the observer has remained the same, silent, still, unchanging. Learning to access the observer is the single most transformative practice you can undertake. Because when you shift your identity from the thoughts and emotions to the observer, everything changes. When you are identified with your thoughts, you are at war with your own mind. Every negative thought is a threat. Every worry is an emergency. Every self-critical voice is an attack on your identity. You are constantly fighting, defending, and struggling. When you are identified with the observer, you are at peace with your mind. Thoughts still come, but they are just thoughts. Clouds passing through the sky, you notice them, you let them pass. They do not define you, they do not control you, they do not disturb the deep stillness of your awareness. Emotions still come, but they are just emotions, waves in the ocean. You feel them, you let them move through you. They do not overwhelm you, they do not consume you. They rise and they fall, and the ocean remains. This shift from identification with thoughts to identification with the observer is what every meditation tradition in history has been pointing toward. It is the core insight, the fundamental realization. You are not the noise, you are the silence beneath the noise. You are not the chaos, you are the calm beneath the chaos. And that calm is always available to you, right now, in this moment, regardless of what is happening in your life, regardless of what thoughts are racing through your head, regardless of what emotions are churning in your body. The observer is there, the silence is there, the peace is there. You just have to learn to access it. Chapter 3: The Practice of Stillness. Accessing the observer is not a one-time event. It is a practice, a daily deliberate practice that strengthens your connection to the stillness within you the same way physical exercise strengthens your muscles. This practice is what most people call meditation, but I want to strip away all the mysticism and complexity that has been layered onto that word. Meditation is not about achieving some special state of consciousness. It is not about having no thoughts. It is not about floating in bliss or seeing visions or having spiritual experiences. Meditation is simply the practice of sitting still and observing your own mind. That is it, nothing more, nothing less. You sit down, you close your eyes, and you watch what happens inside your head. Thoughts will come, that is guaranteed. Your mind will generate thoughts the moment you sit down. It will say this is boring. It will say I have things to do. It will say am I doing this right? It will say what am I supposed to be feeling? It will generate an endless parade of thoughts trying to pull you out of stillness and back into the noise. Your job is not to stop these thoughts. Your job is to notice them without engaging with them. You notice a thought arise, you do not follow it, you do not argue with it, you do not analyze it, you simply note its presence and return your attention to the present moment. The present moment can be anchored by your breath, the feeling of air entering your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, the expansion and contraction of your belly. Your breath is always happening in the present moment. It is always available as an anchor to bring you back from the wandering of your mind. When a thought pulls you away from your breath, and it will notice that you were pulled away, do not judge yourself, do not criticize yourself for losing focus. Simply notice and return. That moment of noticing is the practice, that is the rep, that is the exercise. Every time you notice that your mind has wandered and you bring it back, you are strengthening your ability to choose where your attention goes instead of letting your mind choose for you. Start with 5 minutes per day, just 5. Sit down, close your eyes, and watch your breath for 5 minutes. That is the entire practice. It will feel strange at first. It might feel boring or pointless or frustrating. Your mind will resist it because your mind does not want to be observed. It wants to keep running the show from behind the curtain. Observation pulls the curtain back, and the mind does not like that. Do it anyway, 5 minutes per day, every day, without exception. After a week, increase to 10 minutes. After a month, increase to 15 or 20. There is no rush. The practice is not about duration. It is about consistency. 5 consistent minutes every day is infinitely more powerful than 1 hour once a week. Over time, something will begin to shift. You will notice that the gap between your thoughts gets a little wider. You will notice that you can observe a thought without being pulled into it a little more easily. You will notice moments during the day where the noise machine quiets down and a sense of stillness emerges even outside of your meditation practice. These shifts are subtle at first, but they compound. Day after day, week after week, month after month, the stillness grows, the noise machine weakens, the observer strengthens, and gradually the silent fortress begins to take shape. Chapter 4: Detaching from the Storm. One of the most liberating realizations you can have is that you do not have to engage with every thought and every emotion that arises in your mind. You have a choice. You can observe without engaging. You can feel without reacting. You can witness without participating. This is the practice of detachment, and it is the wall of your silent fortress. Detachment does not mean not caring. It does not mean being cold or indifferent or disconnected from life. It means not being controlled by the internal weather of your mind. It means experiencing your thoughts and emotions from the perspective of the observer rather than from inside the storm. When you are inside a storm, you cannot see clearly. Everything is chaos, wind and rain and noise. You are reactive, you are defensive, you are overwhelmed. You make poor decisions because you cannot see beyond the immediate turbulence. When you observe a storm from inside a fortress, you can see it clearly. You can watch the wind and the rain without being battered by them. You can assess the situation calmly. You can make decisions from a place of clarity rather than panic. Your thoughts and emotions are the storm. The silent fortress is the observer, and detachment is the practice of staying in the fortress while the storm rages. How do you practice detachment in daily life? By creating a micropause between stimulus and response, between something happening and your reaction to it. Most people react instantly and automatically. Something happens and they respond before they even realize they have responded. Someone says something offensive and they fire back immediately. An anxious thought appears and they spiral into panic immediately. A craving arises and they give in immediately. The micropause changes everything. It is a brief moment, a single breath, where you catch yourself before the automatic reaction fires. In that pause, you have the space to choose whether this thought deserves your engagement, to choose whether this emotion should dictate your behavior, to choose whether this situation requires a reaction at all. The micropause is not easy at first. Automatic reactions are fast. They fire before you even realize what happened. But with practice, the pause becomes available. You start to notice the space between the trigger and the reaction. You start to catch yourself earlier and earlier. And gradually, you develop the ability to choose your response instead of being controlled by your reflexes. This does not mean you suppress your emotions. Suppression is not detachment. Suppression is pushing emotions down and pretending they are not there. That is harmful. Emotions that are suppressed do not disappear. They build pressure until they explode in destructive ways. Detachment is the opposite of suppression. It is fully feeling the emotion while simultaneously observing it. You feel the anger, you let it be there. You notice where it lives in your body. You notice how it affects your breathing. You notice the thoughts it generates, and you let it pass through you without acting on it impulsively. The emotion is felt, the emotion is honored, the emotion is released, and you remain in the fortress, calm, clear, undisturbed. This is the power of detachment. It does not remove the storms of life. It gives you a place to stand where the storms cannot reach you. Chapter 5: The Breath as a Weapon. Your breath is the most powerful tool you have for creating instant peace in any situation. It is always with you. It requires no equipment, it costs nothing, and it works immediately. This is because your breath is directly connected to your nervous system. Specifically, it is connected to the autonomic nervous system, which controls your body's stress response and relaxation response. When you are stressed, anxious, or afraid, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid. This shallow, rapid breathing activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight-or-flight system. It floods your body with stress hormones. It increases your heart rate. It tenses your muscles. It narrows your focus. It prepares you for danger. When you deliberately slow and deepen your breathing, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and restore system. It counteracts the stress hormones. It slows your heart rate. It relaxes your muscles. It broadens your focus. It tells your body that you are safe. This means that by simply changing how you breathe, you can switch your body from stress mode to peace mode in a matter of seconds. No meditation cushion required. No quiet room required. No special circumstances required. Just your breath. The most effective breathing pattern for activating the relaxation response is the extended exhale. You inhale for a count of 4 and you exhale for a count of 6 or 8. The exhale is longer than the inhale. This ratio is critical because the exhale is what activates the parasympathetic system. The longer the exhale, the stronger the relaxation response. Try it right now. Breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Hold briefly. Then breathe out slowly through your nose or mouth for 6 to 8 counts. Let the exhale be long, slow, and complete. Feel your body relaxing as you exhale. Feel the tension leaving your shoulders, your jaw, your chest. Do this for just 5 breaths and notice the difference. 5 conscious breaths with extended exhales can shift your entire state from anxious to calm, from scattered to focused, from reactive to responsive. This is your emergency peace protocol. Anytime you feel overwhelmed, anxious, angry, or stressed, you can use this breathing pattern to bring yourself back to center. In a meeting that is getting heated, take 5 breaths. Before a difficult conversation, take 5 breaths. When you feel yourself spiraling into worry or panic, take 5 breaths. When you cannot sleep because your mind will not stop, take 5 breaths. The breath is your weapon against the chaos. It is always available. It always works. And the more you use it, the more powerful it becomes because you are training your nervous system to shift states more quickly and more easily. Over time, with consistent practice, you will notice that your baseline state changes. You will not need to use the breathing technique as often because your nervous system has learned to stay calmer by default. The chronic tension that you have been carrying for years will begin to dissolve. The constant low-level anxiety that has been humming in the background of your life will begin to quiet. This is the breath doing its work, slowly, steadily rebuilding your nervous system from the ground up, turning a system that was chronically stressed into a system that is chronically calm. Chapter 6: The Thought Diet. Just as your body is affected by the food you eat, your mind is affected by the thoughts you feed it. And most people are on a mental diet that is the equivalent of eating junk food for every meal. They consume thoughts that are toxic, and they do it constantly without any awareness of what it is doing to their inner peace. The thought diet has 2 components. The internal component is the quality of the thoughts you generate inside your own head. The external component is the quality of the information you consume from the outside world. Let us start with the external component because it is the easier one to control. What are you consuming every day? What information are you feeding your mind when you check your phone first thing in the morning? When you scroll social media during breaks? When you watch television in the evening? When you listen to podcasts or radio during your commute? If you are consuming news that is designed to make you afraid, you are feeding your mind fear. If you are consuming social media that is designed to make you compare yourself to others, you are feeding your mind inadequacy. If you are consuming entertainment that is violent, negative, or mindless, you are feeding your mind violence, negativity, and numbness. And every bit of this consumption is destroying your inner peace, not dramatically, subtly, like a slow poison. Each piece of negative content adds a small amount of tension to your nervous system, a small amount of noise to your mental environment, a small amount of toxicity to your emotional state, and it accumulates. The thought diet requires you to become deliberate about what you allow into your mind from the outside world. This does not mean becoming ignorant about what is happening in the world. It means being strategic about how and when and how much you consume. Limit your news consumption to once per day for a fixed period of time. Do not check it compulsively throughout the day. Reduce your social media consumption dramatically or eliminate it entirely. Replace mindless entertainment with content that is calming, enriching, or educational. Listen to music that creates peace rather than agitation. Read books that expand your mind rather than content that clutters it. This external cleanup is powerful, but the internal component is even more important Because even if you eliminate every external source of negative input, your own mind will still generate negative thoughts. The noise machine does not need external fuel. It runs on autopilot. The internal thought diet is about becoming aware of the thoughts you are generating and deliberately choosing not to feed the toxic ones. When a worry thought arises, you notice it and you choose not to engage with it. You do not follow it down the rabbit hole. You do not add more worry thoughts on top of it. You notice it, label it as a worry thought, and return your attention to the present moment. When a self-critical thought arises, you notice it and you choose not to engage with it. You do not argue with it. You do not defend yourself against your own mind. You notice it, label it as a self-critical thought, and return your attention to the present moment. When a thought about the past arises, pulling you into regret or resentment, you notice it and you choose not to engage with it. You label it as a past thought and return to the present. When a thought about the future arises, pulling you into anxiety or fear, you notice it and you choose not to engage with it. You label it as a future thought and return to the present. This labeling technique is simple but extraordinarily effective. By labeling a thought, you step out of the thought and into the observer. You break the fusion between you and the thought. You create space, and in that space, you find peace. The thought diet is not about eliminating all negative thoughts. That is impossible. It is about starving them, giving them less attention, less energy, less engagement, and the thoughts you starve eventually weaken. They come less frequently. They carry less emotional charge. They lose their power over you. Meanwhile, the thoughts you feed, the peaceful thoughts, the grateful thoughts, the present moment thoughts, grow stronger. They come more naturally. They become your default, and your internal environment transforms from a noisy, chaotic battleground into a quiet, peaceful fortress. Chapter 7: The Body as Anchor. Your mind and your body are not separate systems. They are one interconnected system. What happens in your mind affects your body, and what happens in your body affects your mind. This connection is the reason why mental stress creates physical tension and why physical relaxation creates mental calm. Most approaches to inner peace focus exclusively on the mind. They try to fix the mind with the mind. Think positive thoughts, change your beliefs, reframe your perspective. These approaches have value, but they are incomplete because they ignore the body half of the equation. Your body is an anchor for peace. When you learn to release the tensions stored in your body and return to a state of physical relaxation, your mind follows. It has no choice. The connection between body and mind is bidirectional. A relaxed body creates a relaxed mind, just as a relaxed mind creates a relaxed body. The problem is that most people carry chronic tension in their body without even realizing it. They have been tense for so long that tension feels normal. Their shoulders are perpetually tight, their jaw is perpetually clenched, their stomach is perpetually knotted, their breathing is perpetually shallow. They have forgotten what a truly relaxed body feels like. The first step is to become aware of where you hold tension. Right now, as you listen to these words, scan your body. Start at the top of your head and slowly move your awareness down through your body. Your forehead, is it relaxed or furrowed? Your eyes, are they soft or strained? Your jaw, is it loose or clenched? Your neck and shoulders, are they dropped or raised and tight? Your chest, is it open or constricted? Your stomach, is it soft or hard? Your hands, are they relaxed or gripping? Your legs, are they at ease or tense? If you found tension anywhere, and you almost certainly did, you have been carrying that tension without being aware of it. That tension is physical stress stored in your muscles, and as long as it is there, it is sending signals to your brain that say something is wrong. We are under threat. Stay alert. Those signals perpetuate the cycle of mental noise and anxiety. The practice of body scanning is one of the most powerful tools for building inner peace. Take 5 minutes each day to lie down or sit comfortably and scan your body from head to toe. When you find tension, breathe into that area. Imagine the breath going directly to the tight spot, and as you exhale, imagine the tension dissolving and leaving your body. Move slowly. Give each area of your body your full attention. This practice does 3 things. First, it releases the physical tension that has been accumulating in your body. Second, it trains your awareness to inhabit your body rather than being stuck in your head. Third, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, creating a physiological state of relaxation. Your body is your anchor to the present moment. Your mind can travel to the past or the future, but your body is always here now. When you bring your awareness into your body, you are automatically bringing yourself into the present moment. And the present moment is the only place where peace exists. The past is not peaceful because it is full of regrets and painful memories. The future is not peaceful because it is full of uncertainties and fears. Only the present moment is peaceful because the present moment simply is. It is not good or bad. It is not threatening or safe. It just is. And when you drop into the pure experience of the present moment through your body, you drop into peace. Chapter 8: Surrender and Acceptance. There is a word that most people misunderstand and resist with everything they have. That word is surrender. To most people, surrender means giving up, admitting defeat, losing, being weak. And so they fight against everything. They fight against their circumstances. They fight against their emotions. They fight against reality itself. And all that fighting is destroying their peace. Surrender in the context of inner peace does not mean giving up. It means giving up the fight against what is. It means accepting reality as it is in this moment without resistance, not because reality is perfect, but because fighting against reality does not change reality. It only creates suffering. Think about it. When something happens that you do not like, what do? Most people resist it. They say this should not be happening. They say this is not fair. They say I do not want this. They say why is this happening to me? And what does this resistance accomplish? Does it change the situation? Number, does it fix the problem? Number, does it make you feel better? No, all it does is add a layer of suffering on top of the situation. You now have two problems: the original situation and the mental suffering caused by your resistance to it. This is what the ancient meditation masters meant when they said pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain is part of life. Difficult things happen, loss happens, failure happens, conflict happens. You cannot prevent these things from occurring. But suffering is the resistance you add on top of the pain. It is the this should not be happening. It is the why me. It is the mental battle against reality that creates far more distress than the original event itself. Surrender means dropping the resistance, not the action. If something is wrong and you can fix it, fix it. Take action, solve the problem, but drop the mental resistance. Drop the this should not be happening. Accept that it is happening and then deal with it from a place of calm clarity rather than from a place of frantic resistance. Acceptance does not mean approval. You can accept that something has happened without approving of it. You can accept that a situation is difficult without saying the situation is good. Acceptance simply means acknowledging reality as it is without adding the extra layer of mental combat. When you practice acceptance, something remarkable happens. The tension dissolves, the mental noise quiets, the emotional turbulence calms, because most of your suffering was not caused by the situation itself. It was caused by your resistance to the situation. Remove the resistance and the suffering collapses. This is one of the most difficult practices in this entire audiobook, because the mind is addicted to resistance. It is addicted to the story of this should not be happening. It is addicted to the drama of fighting against reality. Letting go of that addiction feels like losing something important. But what you are losing is only suffering. What you are gaining is peace. Start with small things. When you are stuck in traffic, instead of raging against it, accept that you are stuck in traffic. Relax your body, breathe, use the time to practice stillness. When something minor goes wrong, instead of reacting with frustration, accept that it went wrong and calmly figure out what to do next. When someone says something that bothers you, instead of spiraling into anger, accept that they said it and choose your response from a place of calm. Practice acceptance with small things and you will build the muscle for bigger things. And over time you will discover that the things that used to destroy your peace no longer even register, not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped fighting against reality. And in that cessation of fighting, you found the deepest peace you have ever known. Chapter 9: The Evening Sanctuary. If the morning sets the tone for your day, the evening determines the quality of your rest and the state of your mind when you wake up tomorrow. And most people destroy their evening without even realizing it. They spend the last hours of their day consuming content that agitates their mind, news that triggers fear, social media that triggers comparison, entertainment that overstimulates, arguments that trigger anger, and then they wonder why they cannot sleep, why their mind races when they close their eyes, why they wake up already feeling drained. Your evening should be a sanctuary, a protected space of winding down and returning to stillness, a transition from the noise of the day to the peace of the night. And this transition needs to be deliberate because it will not happen on its own. The evening sanctuary begins 1 hour before you intend to sleep. During this hour, you eliminate screens, no phone, no television, no computer. The blue light from screens disrupts your circadian rhythm, and the content on screens stimulates your mind at exactly the time when your mind needs to be settling down. During this hour, you engage in activities that promote calm and stillness. You might read a physical book, something calming or enriching, not a thriller that spikes your adrenaline, something that gently occupies your mind without stimulating it. You might do a body scan, lying down and systematically releasing the tension you accumulated during the day, starting at your head and working down to your feet, breathing into each area and letting go of whatever tightness you find. You might practice the extended exhale breathing, 5 minutes of slow, deliberate breathing with long exhales, shifting your nervous system from active mode to rest mode. You might sit in silence, just 5 or 10 minutes of sitting with your eyes closed, observing whatever arises in your mind without engaging with it, letting the thoughts of the day settle like sediment in a glass of water. When the sediment settles, the water becomes clear. You might practice gratitude, not as a forced exercise, but as a genuine reflection on what was good about today. What moment brought you joy? What interaction was meaningful? What beauty did you notice? What are you thankful for right now in this moment? Gratitude is one of the most powerful antidotes to the noise machine because the noise machine runs on negativity. It runs on what went wrong and what could go wrong and what is missing and what is threatening. Gratitude redirects your attention to what went right and what you have and what is good. And that redirection creates a profound shift in your mental state. The evening sanctuary is not optional if you are serious about building inner peace. It is a non-negotiable part of your daily practice because the state you are in when you fall asleep determines the quality of your rest, and the quality of your rest determines the state you are in when you wake up, and the state you wake up in determines how you experience the entire next day. A peaceful evening creates peaceful sleep, which creates a peaceful morning, which creates a peaceful day. It is a chain reaction, and it starts with how you treat your evenings. Chapter 10: Living in the Fortress. The silent fortress is not something you visit during meditation and then leave. It is something you carry with you. It is a way of being that you bring into every moment of every day. And learning to live in the fortress while also engaging with the noise and chaos of daily life is the ultimate practice. This is where theory becomes reality, where the cushion meets the street, where the peace you cultivate in silence is tested by the fires of real life. Living in the fortress means bringing the observer into your daily activities. While you are working, you maintain a thread of awareness that is watching the process. You notice when you become tense. You notice when your mind starts racing. You notice when you lose presence, and you gently bring yourself back, over and over, just like you bring yourself back to the breath during meditation. Living in the fortress means using the micropause before reacting to anything that triggers you. Someone says something offensive. Instead of firing back immediately, you pause. You breathe. You choose your response from a place of calm rather than reacting from a place of emotion. This single practice will transform your relationships, your communication, and your reputation. Living in the fortress means accepting what you cannot change and taking calm action on what you can. It means dropping the mental resistance that creates suffering and replacing it with grounded, purposeful engagement with reality as it is. Living in the fortress means maintaining your practices even when life is busy, especially when life is busy, because the moments when you feel like you do not have time for meditation are the moments when you need meditation the most. 5 minutes. That is all. 5 minutes of stillness in the middle of a chaotic day can reset your entire nervous system and return you to clarity. Living in the fortress means remembering who you really are, not your job title, not your bank balance, not your social status, not the roles you play, not the thoughts you think, not the emotions you feel. You are the awareness behind all of it, the observer, the stillness, the peace. When you forget this, and you will forget this repeatedly, the noise machine takes over. The storm pulls you in. You get lost in the chaos. You lose your peace. This is normal. This is part of the practice. The practice is not about never losing your peace. It is about returning to it more quickly each time you lose it. And over time you will notice that the returns become faster. The periods of being lost in the noise become shorter. The fortress becomes more stable. The stillness becomes more accessible. The peace becomes more permanent. Not because the world becomes less chaotic, but because you become more rooted in the calm that exists beneath the chaos. The peace was always there. I want to leave you with something that might change how you approach this entire journey. The peace you are looking for is not something you need to create. It is not something you need to build from scratch. It is not something that exists somewhere out there waiting for you to find it. The peace is already inside you. It has always been inside you. It was there before the noise machines started running. It was there before the world taught you to be anxious. It was there before the stress and the fear and the chronic tension took hold. It was there from the very beginning. You did not lose your peace, you buried it. You buried it under layers of noise and conditioning and overstimulation and mental clutter, but it is still there, intact, untouched, waiting. Everything in this audiobook, the observation, practice, the breath, work, the body, scanning, the thought, diet, the detachment, the acceptance, the evening sanctuary, all of it is not about creating peace. It is about removing the layers that are covering it, like clearing snow off a buried car. The car was always there. You just had to clear what was on top of it. Every minute of stillness practice clears a little more. Every conscious breath removes a layer. Every moment of present moment awareness reveals a little more of the peace that was always underneath. This is why the practice feels like coming home, because it is. You are returning to something you have always had, something that is more fundamentally you than any thought, any emotion, any role, any identity, any story you have ever told yourself. The silence is yours, the stillness is yours, the peace is yours. It always was. Now go sit with it, 5 minutes, every day, and let the fortress build itself around something that was never truly lost.